Well, interesting racing is exactly what we are about to experience. They make their way around the last corner before the start-finish straight. We got Sherritt in front, Willifant next to him. Sherritt again, Essa next to him. The lights are about to go out. Ladies and gentlemen, we have green light racing. Off they go, off they go. Sherritt so far on the inside, he's got it. That's Kadile having a look down the outside over there. Somebody comes down the middle. They're 3 abreast so far. So far, so good. They touch ever so slightly. That's Kadile and Jadwat tangling it up there. But so far, most of them have gone through safely. Essa does seem to be having a look around the outside there. That is Essa going around the outside of Sherritt over there. Well done to him. Willifant. Oh, wow, he's got second.
Yeah, he's through to second already. And Cody's in wall, so that's a bit of a problem. There's the first out breaking himself. We said it's so easy to do. Cody was very, very cautious through Hell, the corner. He really backed out. He didn't want to go door to door with Zaire Essa, and he's kind of given him that position. But Zaire had a great drive and literally drove right past Leslie into Griffin's corner. And it's so easy after 1.1 kilometers straight. Maybe the brakes aren't up to temperature to go and outbrake yourself. But Cody's gone from second down to ninth, sitting behind Jason Webb by making one silly mistake. And we've got an Audi off. I think it's on.
That's the soft
rear end. So action already. But I mean, where he's spun it, he's out of the way, so everyone can link their way through. So that's fortunate. Looks like it's only Honor that got tangled in that one. This is why we're under safety car conditions. So this is going through the chase section. Let's see what happens here.
This is what we were seeing in the background.
Yeah, this is our leader. Oh, come across, reconnect someone. Yeah, that's the contact. Where? Oh, there.
Oh no! Oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness me!
All right.
Byron Walker's involved there as well. Oh my goodness! There's Wesley Hampson threads his way through. And there might be more carnage now. Oh my goodness me, that was too close. This is going to bode well for his championship title run as they go through the fastest corner in touring cars.
Oh, Jason Webb
having a look down the inside there. Looks like Claessen's runs wide there. Jadwat also. Claessen's back on Webb. Willifant goes wide.
I think Webb's under pressure from Cody Sherritt as well. So a lot of stuff happening there.
Cody goes down the outside there. They touch.
I love it.
Oh my goodness me.
Nothing wrong with that. Door to door. Go right, boys.
And goes into the wall. 13th position for him. And the race. Oh, he's got him. Willifant's got him as well.
Yeah, Leslie, look, I didn't think he committed to the corner, but Bash kind of left him space and ran it wide. And Leslie said, thank you very much. So, yeah, that was a bad quarter lap for Bash. Time for him now to regroup. Now he's not chasing Bruno Cadillas or Leslie Oliphant to deal with. But this will be stoked.
Maybe
he'll be for Bruno.
Yeah, maybe Bruno Cadile can now become Leslie Oliphant's problem because Bash clearly wasn't able to get past him. So maybe he's going to say, you know what, maybe you try and go tussle with him a little bit because I do think the Porsches are overall going to catch that Merc. We're seeing it right now. It's getting past. That's a whole other situation. Getting to him is one thing, but getting past him is quite another. Well, further down the field, we're looking at more Porsche action here. This is Frans Albertijn. Oh my goodness, lots and lots of action happening here. One of the Porsches pulls alongside there as Brent Lindsay Ray, Frans Albertijn, and Jason Gray make their way through. That's Heineke as well in the mix there. But we're on board with Frans Albertijn now in 17th position.
So, I mean, you can't put the blame on him for tapping someone around when he wasn't at fault at all.
Check Cody into Griffith.
Having a look down the inside there, right up alongside Jadwat there, and gets the move easily done. He's clearly got the pace on Jadwat. It just makes it stick.
He's got the slipstream as well, so that's, I mean, we know that Audi's quick, so he's actually done the right thing. He's been patient, not try to do stupid moves over the mountain, and rather waited for the right opportunity, get good drive out of that corner, Hell corner, always kind of in the top 10. So this is a great...
Patterson has a look. Patterson has a look. Patterson on the outside. Now Klaassen down the inside. Klaassen might run a little bit wide. Patterson slots in behind him. And look what we have here now. We've got the Ferrari getting involved. Steyn gets involved as well. Patterson and Steyn, it's a bit too close. Oh my goodness, they touch. Patterson closes the door and Steyn collects him. Clem comes through. Both of them crashing badly. And
that
oh my
was
goodness
always
me.
going to happen. Taz, we saw the...
Oh no.
I see we've lost Taz. She's gone on to mute. What a sad way for that to end, but we had something so similar.
Less than a minute of racing to go. They're going to start doing the last lap any second now. Oh, the Bentley has a look. The Bentley has a look side by side through the sweep. They're going into the left hand, and now there's a Porsche in the mix there. Oh my goodness, was that the other 80K car there?
Wow.
Oh my goodness me.
So I thought Junior gave him a bit of a nudge because that Bentley started looking very loose in the rear, but Rickard held onto it. So that's 10th place. Good result for the Bentleys. And this is our leader, Jordan, who's coming to get the checkered flag now. Time is up. What a flippin' race. What a drive. 17 seconds. That is domination.
Total domination as Jordan Shedder crosses the line first. 17 seconds ahead of the person we thought was the dominator and who has often dominated the season. Zaire Essa is finally looking mortal, and it's nice to see the two of them now going into the next round with a battle on their hands. Both of them capable of winning, convincingly as Cody Shedder starts to apply pressure as they make their way to the finish line. We've got Cody Shedder in 4th place right behind Bruno Cadile. Bruno Cadile in the Merc's got the speed of the straight line though. He's got one more corner to make it though. All he needs to do is finish this section here. Bruno Cadile gets across the line, flashing lights, gets his first podium. Well done. Touches the wall there for good measure, but gets his first podium. Bashir Jadwat makes up the top 5. Quade Claessens behind that. One of my favorite drivers for today, definitely Morne Steyn there in the Ferrari. Well done to him as he cut Marcus Steyn, so he comes across the line. Brilliant. And Kieran Patterson in 8th position.
What does it take to win? Is it something you're born with? Is it the grind? Every day. Gear up. Do battle. For the 10,000th time. Or is it pushing to your absolute limits? To be faster. Always faster. Insanely precise. Totally free and at one with the game. Or maybe it's just getting to that place where nothing else matters. Nothing in the way of winning.
let me into my zone. Let me into my zone. Let me into my zone. Please don't let me in. Gonna play that, take you down, I'ma say that. Money, me, $2, telling you now to pay back. So I pay that. Ask them now, what's change that? I've been going to the top and I got what they not, so I know that they hate that.
He had to slip down all the way into turn one, and he was breaking it down.
And all these men's gonna tell you what I did, and they twist and they work till I fall out. But I know that, so I keep what I'm doing cause I own that. And I stay in the lab and I kill everything, but I don't ever move, I'm a cone. So finally back in my home, I'm
Still after
working,
the
I
start of this safety car. Can we have one later on? So we're looking just about to finish.
balling, can't beat me up cause I'm back in my zone now.
Having a great strap and almost banging wheels.
Cause I'm back in my zone now.
Don't get greedy now, mate. That's good. Settle down.
And welcome back to round 10 of the ATK Pro Series, brought to you by Kyalami 9 Hour, MSA and Assetto Corsa Competizione. Of course, none of this would be possible without our sponsors, AMD, Elgato, and Logitech. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Suzuka, one of my personal favorite circuits, and this time we are going to Japan, where the circuit plays host many times a year to Formula One races, Super GT, and even drifting. But this time the ATK Pro Series arrives, and we are arriving in force this season. The round 10 taking place. We've of course had a jam-packed season so far, and the person that's been with me all the way has been Marius. Marius, what are your thoughts on Suzuka? I know you're going to be giving us the breakdown, the lowdown, what's special about the circuit, but what are your initial thoughts about Suzuka?
Hey, I feel the same way as you do, Ernest, because it's also one of my favorite circuits. I haven't played it on Assetto Corsa, but I mean, in the good old days, did a lot of laps on GT, Gran Turismo on the circuit. We've had a really sweet run, haven't we? The last 2 weeks or 3 weeks with the Pro Series, because we've really been in some good driver circuits. Bathurst 2 weeks ago, and now we're at Suzuka. The next round's at Spa. These are circuits that the drivers love because they are technical, they're fast, they're flowing, they require a rhythm. I'm just glad that there is racing at Suzuka, because as we know, I mean, one of our sponsors, Kyalami 9 Hour, that race we should have had happen already. Would have been the Intercontinental GT Challenge at Suzuka. That's not happening until next year now. It was a race that Kelvin van der Linde won last year, so obviously the South Africans do well there. So it's great that we are going as a sim racing community to race at Suzuka. Really looking forward to it. But it's a big day for ATK in the Pro Series, because we are going to crown a champion. There's no doubt. I mean, Zer Essa would have to literally not arrive today to not win. And we know how sim racing works. I mean, there's no real chance of a mechanical failure. I know the guys can have internet issues. There's no load shedding. So he literally is going to win today. But I think that's awesome, because it's always nice for us to have a race going, like a championship going down to the final round, which is at Kyalami. But at the end of the day, he deserves it. He's been unbelievable. Bash is the only guy with a mathematical chance to still take it to the next round, but I don't see that happening. So for me, there's still a lot of pride for the other drivers, and it's been a little bit, I'm going to have a bit of a bitch and moan, it's been a little bit disappointing seeing how many guys have dropped out, especially from a ProAM perspective. You know, when we started this, we were sitting with 30 guys in ProAM, 30 guys in pros. But, you know, I think that's also something that I'd really love the sim community to embrace, is that there's no, eject button and you're out. In the real racing world, which is what they are actually wanting to be all about, you don't get to do that. You know, you committed to the season. So it would be nice. But look, I mean, the racing is going to be epic today. It's a great thing.
Well, this being the first and inaugural season, there's a lot there's a long way to go. And next season, we're looking to have some partners on board. Mobile, of course, in discussions with ATK at the moment. Can't say too much more, guys, but watch out for Mobile. They'll be on S's car today, and they'll be partnering with ATK today, and delivery will be on S's car. So, I mean, big things are happening, and this is what we've spoken about, Marius, off air, that next year there are going to be incentives for the drivers. There are going to be ways to make the packages very attractive for drivers to want to compete, to want to take part, and want to win. So I think a lot more coming in future when it comes to the ATK Pro Series.
Yeah, Ernest, I mean, for me, this is not about, I think what ATK has put together here with the partners is unbelievable. And I know there's plans to incentivize and, but I don't think you need that. Imagine as George Russell racing for the Williams team. Imagine them going, we're having a poor season. We're just not going to bother racing. That mentality is very different in the real racing community, because you use the season to improve your abilities. People are going to notice you, whether you're in for a win or not. People are still noticing you, and this is part of marketing yourself in the sim racing community. We've seen guys getting snapped up in ProAMs, getting sponsorships, and making their way up into pros. So for me, it shouldn't be about having to incentivize the guys to run. It should be their commitment to racing a season, because in the real world, that eject button doesn't exist. You have a bad qualifying, poof, push the button, back to the pits you go. I'd love to see the guys. I'm a little bit disappointed, I really am, that a lot of guys have gone, well, this hasn't panned out for us. We're rather going to watch MotoGP. You committed to the season, be professional in that way, because ATK and the partners have put on what I think is a really super professional season for the first time out, so it's only going to go from strength to strength. But I mean, it doesn't take anything away from the quality racing that we've seen round after round. So really, I'm looking forward to what the guys are going to deliver at Suzuka today.
Well, there certainly is going to be quality racing today. We got the Pro-Am starting just after 3 o'clock. That will be shortly. And then we've got the pros at 5 o'clock at the moment. The Pro-Am drivers are busy practicing, getting ready for the qualifying. In today's Pro-Ams, we've got Sean Mumford, one of the quickest in seeding yesterday. Sean Mumford, having come a long way in that Porsche. He did dip into the pro category a couple of times, but showing consistency and showing improvement over the entire season. Jason Isherwood over there as well in the big Bentley. We've been wanting to see Jason do better the entire season. So I'm hoping to see how he can make that Bentley perform again like he did earlier on in the season.
Well, he had a good run, Ernest. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were saying we'd like to see that form back, and it was certainly there at Bathurst, where he made it back into the pro category, and it was quite cool. They again, ATK looking to push new ideas to make the racing better for everyone. Bringing in safety car technology, which is kind of unheard of in the sim racing community. But that gave Jason Isherwood a chance to get onto the grid and have a race after that first lap incident that took out so many guys and ended up scoring points. So, for me, that is awesome. Just for clarity, we've got a Zed Harding there driving a McLaren. That's actually Corné Strauss. So that's also a networking issue. So he's, again, another guy that's done very, very well. But I mean, it's sad to see Jason Webb there. He was having some technical issues, so he wasn't able to post a lap time at all. So we know he's been running top 10 in the pros. So for me, for Jason, this is about putting all of that disappointment behind you and winning Pro-Am. That's what he needs to do today.
Exactly. And of course, he's running on a different rig as well. He's had some technical issues with his wheel. And by technical issues, I think his wheel fried completely. So he's now at the ATK offices.
No, it's because he's drifting the thing. That's why.
Exactly. I know.
I'm made for drifting.
And he's now at the ATK offices trying the VR. And now running in the Pro-Am category. I'll be interested to hear his feedback, because they've got the direct drive set up at ATK, and I've tested it, man, and I'm telling you, it is the next level. The very next level of sim racing exists in that direct drive. So for the guys that are using it, I can see why guys like Bash choose that if you want to be competitive right at the top.
You know what I mean? Like let's cause some trouble here. I love that. It'd be so interesting to see this becoming like a production class series where it's like, this is the rig you need to use. Because, like with motorsport, we know motorsport is exclusive. If you want to get involved in racing, there's money that's got to get spent. And the guys are spending super crazy money in sim racing as well. I mean, you look at Kelvin van der Linde's rig overseas. I mean, we're talking lots of hundreds of thousands. So you've still got guys competing here that are running on old wheels and a very basic setup. So I think that's a problem, because I think equipment does make a massive
Look,
difference.
I've heard that Zahir is running an old setup. I've heard that Zahir's running an old setup, and I mean, we saw what he does to the competition. So I'll be keen to speak to him and hear exactly what setup he's running it out. But you've also got options with pedals. But we could talk about this all day. We got to get to the standings now, and here we go. There we go. And speak of the devil, Zahir Issa right at the top. There is a mathematical chance of him losing this championship, Marius, but I don't think you don't sound like you're even entertaining that at the moment.
No, it's never going to happen, because the only thing that could happen here is that he doesn't race today, literally. I mean, he'd have to finish, Bashir would need to kind of finish.
Bashir would need to win, he'd have to come 15th.
And then there's 18th. Listen, even if he finishes 30th today, he's going to win the championship. But it's kind of my, and he's not going to finish 30th. So we know that. But at the end of the day, all that Bash can hope to do is take it to round 11 at Spa. But I don't see that happening. But for me, probably about 2 or 3 rounds back, it started getting very interesting for me for the top 3 positions
100%.
Yeah, and
that is the most interesting race at the moment.
Have a look there. I mean, Morgan McCall, Bruno Cadile. I mean, again, choosing to go have a look there. No Merc in 4th. Everyone else is running Porsches. We knew that was the favorite car coming into it. Marcus Steyn as well in Ferrari, 6th overall. Those for me are standout drivers that are not in what is the best equipment. The balance of performance doesn't really favor their cars, and that is superb results. Jordan Sherritt in 9th should never be in 9th. I mean, if he didn't have the technical hassles that he had, I think this would have been a championship going down to the wire. So it's a bit of a pity, but I think there's a lot to play for. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's going to be a cracker countdown to the final round at Kyalami, I think.
Unbelievable. And guys like Kieran Patterson, who is always improving, watch out for him. As you can see, he's up by 3 positions. Quade Claessens as well, also a very good finisher. And as you said, Steyn. But I think the man to look out for today is Bruno. Bruno Cadile in that Mercedes-Benz is going to be devastating form today, I think, in the pro category, because I've been taking the Merc around the circuit and it absolutely works here. And I know we've always said that certain circuits, the Porsches aren't at their best, but this one really is the case where the Merc is at its best. So Bruno Cadile, for me, is the guy to watch out for, and Morgan McCall's going to have to watch out for him today.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, that's what Sahara said quite a few times. So once you start going to the big circuits, so Bathurst, Suzuka, Spa, where you've got like really mid to high speed, long corners, that's where the Porsche doesn't always do that well in terms of getting the car set up right to be stable. So, this is what he's predicted, and I like it. I think he's kind of revved the guys up as well. He said, like, hey, these circuits are your circuits. I mean, now you guys should be winning. So that just puts a little bit of added pressure on all of them. But exactly. I love the mentality now, because it starts becoming a real championship for guys that are finishing for 2nd and 3rd, fighting for that. Because now you're starting to think, I need to keep it clean. I need to score as many points as I can. I don't need to do anything silly. It's that type of mentality. We're going to a circuit again that's got a really fast run into turn 1. We've seen epic controversial incidents. Think of Senna a few years back, where he just decided to take the Oaks out going into turn 1. So I'm sure our race officials that are looking after everything are going to be giving the guys the riot act, saying, listen, an incident in turn 1 is like a drive through. They're going to be dishing out some serious penalties, because it can be won and lost at turn 1. We've seen it.
Indeed. We've got Jonathan, of course, our man in the booth with us today, going to be manning things. He's going to be looking after the guys out there, waving the proverbial finger, Jonathan. Jonathan, what are you guys looking out for today?
Well, today, I mean, turn 1 is not going to be, as scary as some of the previous rounds that we've had. So, I've given the drivers instruction to beware, because turn 1 does get tighter on you, but I'm not foreseeing too much in the line of turn 1 problems today. And then once again today we're just working on improving our safety car system. So race control will be watching the incidents that happen, and we'll be looking for the slightly more significant incidents that would affect drivers having to pit or with broken cars and stuff. So we want to try to keep all the drivers, especially in the early part of the race, on the lead lap. And we saw that at the last round at Bathurst, where they there's probably about 7 or 8 cars involved in that incident. And
the way you guys handled that was really that was handled well.
Yeah, so we've been working a bit on our processes and how we're going to run the safety car and all that. So, I'm not looking for incidents today, but it's also cool seeing the safety car and using the safety car as a bit of the equalizing factor, without doing anything unfair to the drivers, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then in terms of that, our ProAM category is a bit small today. So, I think the drivers are in for a clean race.
Yeah, it should
No
be
problem.
a fun race today, and it's also nice to give other guys the opportunity to shine today. We're hopefully going to be seeing some tight racing. Suzuka, we were just talking about it now. The first corner, after that first corner, is those amazing sequence of corners. The S's over there, Marius. I mean, that is a place where things can be won or lost here on the circuit. It's not an overtaking opportunity, but it's very easy to make a mistake over there.
Yeah, sorry, I've got my dogs that are agreeing with you at the moment, walking like idiots in the background. I'll get the door closed in a minute. Yeah, look, and what I love about them is that they actually get by the third one, it's actually getting even tighter. So it's how you managing the throttle response through there as well. You've got to have the car perfectly set up. I love it because there are a couple of different approaches to handling those. But you then got so many iconic 130R. You've got so many iconic circuits, and I'm just surprised Jonathan thinks there's not going to be any issues into turn one. Guys arrive there really, really fast, and you end up running the car a little bit wide because then you've got the tightening right-hander. I just think it's easy for guys to fall over each other through there. So I'm hoping Jonathan's right because we don't want to see guys getting taken out here. It could spice up the whole thing. But I love qualifying because you look at those seeding runs, you kind of think, okay, are the guys sandbagging? I don't think it. I think what we've seen now with the top 10, especially in the pros, is pretty much what we've come to expect. Jordan Sherrod, I think, was lying second fastest. He was quickest. But I know Jordan actually won, I think, last night. He won with a team at the 10 hour at Suzuka. So he's been quite clever, putting in some extra track time, running in a different series.
Wow.
So he should really be in the zone. And again, we saw him doing a masterclass at Bathurst. And I think my money's on him for the win.
Yeah, I tell you what, Sherrod is just improving hand over fist. And as you say, he enters other series and does exceptionally well. And he's still able to just pump out laps at will. I was watching him in seeding earlier on, or in practice earlier on, and he was able to pump out laps at will. He's really an impressive driver, and I look forward to seeing how he does over the next couple of races and into the beginning of next season. I mean, what a force he's going to be next season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see. Obviously, you don't end up having a performance index in a series like this because everyone's racing in GT3 cars. But that's what is cool when you get to other race series in longer runs like this, where there's a balance of performance. And I mean, in terms of a performance index for the drivers, and it's looking at consistency in terms of lap times, because it'd be quite interesting to see who manages that. But with all the cars pretty much being the same, it's not relevant in a series like this. But that is what these guys are able to do. And I suppose going and doing a race like he did, the 10 hour at Suzuka, that is exactly what you need to do, is lap after lap after lap, just clocking and getting stuck in it and doing it, and learning to manage tires that are going to go off. We've got a 50-minute race, so the car's going to feel very, very different with 10 minutes to go, and that's why we've normally seen the racing get really spicy. It's like the Twilight Zone with 10 minutes to go, because the guys are all kind of fighting for grip, and the race comes back to a lot of guys that have handled their tires a lot better. So I think that's going to be critical at Suzuka as well. It's not a track, I think, that's going to have heavy tire wear, but I think that's going to suit some of the cars better than others.
Yeah, I tell you what, I am very much looking forward to qualifying. Qualifying should be starting shortly. I'm just waiting for our producer to let us know. Yep, that's it. I got the signal. We are going to go to ads, and we will be ready after the break for the next round of the ATK Pro Series. Stay tuned. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this is the ATK Pro Series, and you are watching the ProAM category. And a name that we're not used to seeing in the ProAM category is Jason Webb. He's got some technical issues with his wheel. So he's at the ATK offices at the moment, using the ATK direct drive wheel and using the VR setup as well, which I've experienced as well. It is the most immersive experience I've ever had outside of a car. I tell you, it felt like I was sitting inside a GT3 car for a second. You can actually look around the car, Marius, and really inspect the car from the inside. So Jason Webb is getting the full experience now at the ATK offices, and we got on board with him now as qualifying just kicks off. We've got Ian McKenzie there on your screen. You can check the names in the top left corner. Raymond Duggan, Jason Isherwood, and these guys have been, some of them jumped into the pro category here there, but most of them are ProAM drivers as Jason Webb pushes that Mercedes-Benz through the tight right-hander as they now come up towards the hairpin corner. He's going to make a quick dart to the right and then into the very tight hairpin over here. This is the first gear corner in the Mercedes-Benz, and it's all about getting the power down now, nice and smooth on the exit there. I tell you what, Jason Webb not looking bad out there today, Marius.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting. You might have noticed that we had 13 guys originally, but you spoke about Sean Mumford, who's done so well, been in pros, now in ProAM. Well, he's actually up in pros, so that was a bit of a late change. So he's gone back up into pros. We're only running 12 guys at the moment, and like I said to you, Jason, yeah, I mean, he's going to want to win this because he's been super consistent in the pro category. He was late joining the ATK Pro Series, and he's had a couple of runs with some really bad luck. If there was an accident, it was always going to clatter into Jason Webb in the last couple of rounds. He's got things sorted, so I know he'll be disappointed, but he's a true pro. So I think he'll be immersed, like you said, in the VR setup and really enjoying that experience. So my money's on him, I think, for the win. But again, guys that are super experienced, I'm quite interested to see how they go with the McLaren. We've got a good mix, which is what I've always loved about the ProAMs. You're seeing guys taking chances, driving other manufacturers' cars. So it's not just the Porsche show like we so often see in the pros.
Yeah, definitely not the Porsche show today. I think some of the cars that we don't usually see up front are going to do well. Definitely the Mercedes. Jason does a 2:00.894. That's the fastest time so far. And Jason Isherwood now out in the Bentley over there, the Boatley as they affectionately call it. And I think this is another car that might just do well here. Harding there, of course, that is Corne Strauss, and the McLaren goes second place with Raymond Duggan in third and Reno in the Audi in fourth place. We know the Audi is going to be very, very fast over here. And another driver that I know has been improving substantially over the last couple of weeks is Koenig there in the Audi as well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Audi's a very consistent car at most of the circuits. And like I mentioned right in the beginning, I mean, Intercontinental GT Challenge last year, the 10-hour Suzuka was won by Kelvin van der Linde's team. I think the Audi Land or WRT it might have been. So we know in the real world, the Audi is a cracker car around here. And just also 2 weeks ago when we spoke to Zaire, he also predicted the Audi would be strong here. So I'm expecting to see good results from the Audis up there. But again, it's like this for me is what I really, like I mentioned with the ProAMs, it's really nice to see different manufacturers represented here. I think if Assetto Corsa could really get the balance of performance working, I think a lot more fairly, which is what it's meant to be doing, I think you'll see guys having a better choice in terms of cars that they pick, because it just really does feel like the Porsche is the one that everyone wants to go for.
Yeah, the Porsche is definitely a very strong car everywhere, a tricky car to drive, but certainly a fast car everywhere. One car that has not been utilized a lot is this one over here, the McLaren. And this is Corne Strauss. I know it says Harding, but he's having some issues with the naming. I had the same issue when a friend of mine changed the name on the system, and it takes a day or two to come back to the original name. So that is Corne Strauss. Just trust us on this one. And this McLaren over here is a car that's underutilized in the series, and Corne Strauss has been flying that flag now, and he continues to fly it into third position there.
Yeah, look, I mean, what I would have done if I was him, I would have gone with like a J Pepper or a K van der Linde or an S van der Linde and watch the Oaks get, huh? I would have gone with a proper pseudonym as opposed to Z Harding.
Sounds like a school teacher, doesn't it?
Exactly. I've loved the look of this McLaren. I love McLarens in the real world. I think they make cracking racing cars.
Fantastic.
And even in the Intercontinental GT Challenge, I think these cars are the ones that have improved the most. Even the Honda, we don't have any Hondas running at the moment, but that NSX is another cracker car. We had a couple of them beginning of the season, the first 1 or 2 rounds. Oh, we got a little spin there during qualifying. One of the Porsches, I think that was Duggan, and that really threw Cornet off going into Denga. But I mean, these curves are properly committed corners. You make a mistake, and you're going to pay, and that's why I like.
Wentworth goes off there.
Yeah, I like this because it literally is still narrow. If you make a mistake, there isn't much runoff. You are going to be clattering a barrier somewhere. So full commitment.
Yeah, full commitment. And then Riddell goes off as well. And Riddell in the Porsche also off. It's one of those circuits where you've really got to find a rhythm. I've been spending a little bit of time, I'm not going to lie, doing some laps around the circuit. And the lap times come eventually, but you've really got to find that rhythm. The S's, you've got to string them together because it's one sequence of corners. Yeah. If the sequence goes out by half a meter at the start, it's difficult to pull it back again. So, it's one of those circuits, and each circuit I feel is divided into sections that feel like they're sort of one part. You know what I mean? So the drivers really have to string together a solid lap here as we jump on board with Sahi in that Ferrari. Sahi is also another driver that's been doing really well of late. I'm interested to see how he does now. He hasn't set a time yet, so we're going to have to wait and see what Sahi can do. He's currently on a last lap of 2:11, which was unofficial, so that doesn't count. He's going to try and go much faster than that. They've only got 11 minutes left now, but that should be enough for a lap or two. But just getting back to what we were saying earlier on, Marius, it's definitely a case of stringing a valid lap together on the circuit. A couple of weeks ago, a few of the guys were doing the 6-hour Suzuka event, and Jason Webb at the time, who doesn't usually get penalties for running wide, managed to get all his penalties within the space of a few minutes. So I know his team is out there shouting my name. Oh, why are you saying that? That's team stuff. Sorry, guys, it happened. And even Jason, who's as precise as he is, was able to run wide on this circuit. So there's a couple of sections here where the drivers will get penalized, like 130R over here. If you run wide over here, you immediately get a warning. And those warnings then accumulate, and then you get a drive-through penalty. So I think we might be seeing a little bit of that today as well.
No, because I mean, listen, if you just miss that initial apex for 130R, there's no ways you're going to keep it within the track limits, and that's why they've got that massive tarred section on the outside. So a lot of the time, it'd be so easy, just use that track, and that brings you back on line perfectly for the chicane. But that's why they've got the track limits there. And I imagine also, for me, if I look at Spoon. When you go through Spoon Curve, it's one that for me is one of the most tricky corners on this track, because you run in early, you've got to run it out wide, you take a bit of curve, then you obviously the next phase of that corner starts. So I think it's also very easy to exceed track limits there and get that lined up. And it's such an important curve because you've then got that back straight section where you're crossing back over the figure of 8, which is what makes this track so amazing. A flipping massive figure of 8. It's so cool. But that is a very important corner for me, and one that I find really difficult to get right, along with the snake section, the S's. It's really hard to get those lined up perfectly.
Jason Webb pulls off there. He goes a little bit faster. But as you said, this circuit is in the shape of an 8. It's one of the few circuits that actually cuts across itself. And in today's strict world of Formula One, it's surprising that this even still exists, in 2020.
No, thank goodness it does exist, because I'm tired of seeing all these new generation crap circuits like Paul Ricard, which, I mean, it becomes a parking lot. Have a look here. Everywhere you see, there's grass. So if you are exceeding track limits here, look at my old Doug and getting it wrong through there again. If you exceed track limits here, you do get penalized, not by the game. You get penalized by yourself because there's no traction on the grass. Look at it, there's no runoff. It's a narrow circuit, but that is what, for me, makes it such a formidable track. We saw the same thing with Bathurst. I love the old circuits like this because for the drivers, you ask them what do they like. These are the circuits I always comment on because it's risk versus reward. It's such a fine line, but when you get it right, you feel amazing. When you get it wrong, well, then you really do get it wrong.
Yeah, we just saw Duggan over there coming very close to the grass, and that's one section I think as well where we're going to see a couple of guys running wide here. Duggan now 0.8 of a second down on his best. He's going to try and make it up in the last two corners. I doubt that's going to be the case. He's in 4th place at the moment. Corne Strauss there in 3rd. Noor Hendricks, nice to see him in 2nd position. Yeah. Jason Webb went a little faster earlier on. And Rina Adriaanse now in 6th position. Koenig doing well there. Koenig now only a couple of tenths off the front run over there. He's in 10th position at the moment. So Koenig's going to be happy with that. I'm sure he's 5 seconds off the pace in total, but he's improving all the time as we now jump on board with Corne Strauss, someone that I've been cheering on for the last couple of races. He's in the top 3. He's just got to get that first place podium finish.
Yeah, listen, I mean, there he's gone second for qualifying, which is obviously a great lap. But interesting, I mean, Jason's literally a second ahead of them. And I think that just tells you a lot, if you are joining us for the first time watching the stream, that there is a marked difference between the Pro-Ams and the Pros. And, if you look at Jason, most of the time he's running like 10, 11th in the Pros. So now you realize when the guys do make that step up from Pro-Am to Pros, it's a massive jump. And they end up finding themselves running like mid-pack 18th, 19th, 20th, where a lot of incidents happen. That's where guys end up over each other. So that is what I love about the fact that we are running both classes, because some guys might choose to actually go, you know what, I actually want a bit more time in Pro-Am, so I'm not going to have a run at seedings. I'm just going to go in Pro-Am and get a bit of time where I'm not dealing with as much traffic, where I can actually get used to leading a race, getting some confidence up, and then go and tackle the Pro. So it's great that ATK with the Pro Series has the categories like this. I think it works a charm.
Well, now the guys get to tackle a pro, and in the form of Jason Webb, we got Adrian Serino now. He's 1 second up on his personal best. So he's on pace for a 201.8, which should bump him up quite a fair way up the standings. Let's see how he goes into 130R now. The very fast left-hander, fifth gear, 220 kilometers an hour through that corner. Now into the final chicane. And this section here was changed a couple of years ago. It's now in the shape of a V.
Yeah, it's tricky. That's what I want to ask you, and it's because I obviously I haven't played this in a set of course. I know you guys were having. I was meant to be a part of that. You and Tasman were having fun race. Did you race?
Yeah, it was this circuit, and it's such a fun circuit to race, man.
But what's that chicane like in terms of curbs? How much curb can you take there? How much does a car get unsettled through there? Because obviously the whole idea is to try and straight line the exit into that right-hander as much as possible. So it's quite a tricky setup, because it's a very deep chicane. It's a hectic chicane. It's not a little left-right that you can flick it in,
100%, Marius, and it's one of those corners where you've got to sacrifice the first part, and that's something I'm still, was trying to figure out. My best time was at 200.8, and I knew I wasn't sacrificing enough into that corner, as we can now watch Jason Isherwood do that section. So it's through the 130R, and then they're going to run a little bit wide to the right. You've got to get back over to the left-hand side just before the final border, hard on the brakes, and then turn in early, grab a lot of curve, they keep to the right, and then straighten the section out over here. So it's a really tricky section, and I think it's something that takes time to master. And, we'll maybe even see a couple of guys get quick over the course of the race.
Yeah, you know what I love as well? It's like they haven't made it simple there. So once it's such a committed braking zone as well.
Yeah.
But you have to move under braking, because the track starts curving to the right. It's quite an early turn into the first right-hander of that chicane. So there is so much going on there, because you're so busy focused on nailing 130R, and then you've got to go left. The car wants to go right because it's still dealing with inertia, and then you've still got to jump on the brakes. For me, it's commitment 100%. Love it.
Yeah, 100% commitment through there. And as you said, that braking zone over there is just tricky. Another braking zone that's tricky is this one over here. A potential overtaking spot, but if you get the overtaking spot wrong, we saw my commentator, our technical commentator and steward over there, try to overtake Tasman there and get it horribly wrong, because if you touch the dirt on the outside, it causes a problem. So it's such a tricky circuit, lots of overtaking opportunities, but also lots of opportunities to make mistakes. Adrianza goes into third position now in the Audi as he spins out on the dirt in the first corner. The car is safe though. He's back in the pits, and he's now firmly in third position, just 1 second off Webb, and not even a tenth of a, just over a tenth of a second off of Harding, as we now go on to Riddell, on board with Riddell now. He's in 9th position. In front of him is Ian McKenzie in the other Porsche. We go on board with Clinton Riddell. Clinton Riddell, of course, family of our steward, Mr. Riddell Senior, we call him, and Clinton's with the White Rabbit Gaming Academy team, as we now go on board with him onto the back straight here in the number 416 Porsche, this section over here is absolutely flat out. The Porsches here have to take a different strategy through 130R, simply because the gearing's different, the car's a different car, and it's 6th gear through here for some of the guys with a slight breath off the accelerator. They breathe off the gas and then back on again, 6th gear all the way through. It's really quite fantastic. So the Porsches it's going to be interesting to see who does well in the Porsches, and I'm keen to see how Riddell does in the number 416 Porsche.
Yeah, I like a little breath off the accelerator, and that's the challenge, isn't it? It's like Potters at East London. I mean, what's a breath? What's a little breath? It's like, it's to get that consistency and that's full commitment, and that comes with laps. So if you spend a lot of time in your rig and you're familiar with what's going on, it's muscle memory. That's what you're getting the hang of. But I mean, really impressive to see Jason obviously racing in a completely different rig today, like you said, at ATK's offices, in virtual reality as well, with a headset. So I mean, this is all new for him, but yeah, I mean, what an opportunity to try out some new gear. I'm sure he's going to be putting in a shopping order after racing.
Maybe he'll have a chat with Monster, his sponsors in the drift world. He's back on the drift scene, by the way. So he did a real world event this week. So it's nice to know that motorsport is kicking off all over the place. Of course, today MotoGP as well, happening as we speak. So lots of real world motorsport taking place, and it's nice to see things kicking off again. And here at ATK Pro Series is a place where sim racers, race car drivers, and those that do both can compete against each other on a fair platform on even footing. As Jason Webb makes his way across the finish line to start his next hot lap. He's currently on a 2:00.543. I don't think that's his ultimate pace, so I think he should be able to do 1:59s. He's still getting used to this car. Runs very wide. They're all the way to the edge of the track there, as you can see. Hard on the brakes now. Down into 2nd gear through the right hand. He's going to go through the S's now, and still matching his time perfectly as he just starts to drop back 1/10 of a second so far. He can still catch it up through the S's now. A little bit understeer there as he goes up into 3rd gear, shuffling down from 2nd to 3rd, back to 2nd again, gets it sideways. And Jason Webb there, that lap is done. But that's it. I think he won't be able to get another lap in. I don't think so. There's no time left. But he is firmly in 1st position. Koenig now in 10th place as he goes through 130R. And Koenig, as I said, one of the guys to watch out for. I think he's going to be improving a lot over the next couple of races. He's already 1 second up, or just under 2nd up, as he goes through the final section now. Yep, this is going to be a good lap from Koenig.
Yeah, I mean, and you were talking earlier about the snake section of the circuit, and it's so difficult there because you've got your perfect line now during qualifying. Now, the minute you get into a race and you're going door to door and you're fighting with other people, you're not having that perfect line, so that changes the rhythm completely. So you've really got to be comfortable with what you're feeling the car doing. We would normally feel that in our butts. Now we feel it with our hands. So. Mm-hmm. Going to be very, very tricky now once they get out of qualifying mode to get themselves regrouped and ready for race mode, because now you are going door to door and it changes things completely.
Changes things completely indeed. And as you say, door to door is what the ATK Pro Series is all about, especially through that first corner. We now look on board with Duggan in the Porsche. And once Duggan completes his lap, we'll be going to an ad break, but we'll first keep eyes on Duggan. Maybe he can upset the Apple Cart. He's got 0.3 of a second down at the moment on his personal best. That's not going to be good enough. He runs wide. And that's the section I was talking about there, Marius, where I think a couple of guys are going to run wide. We saw Duggan coming close early on, and this time runs wide as we now finish up the session. We'll see you guys after the break. Welcome back, folks, as you join us at the ATK Pro Series. This, of course, is Suzuka Circuit, and this is the Pro-Am category. As we see one of the cars in the background drop down and get ready for action in front. Jason Webb still wheels up, getting ready to start off in first position. Next to him, we got Kunos Strauss in the McLaren. Behind him, Reno Adrianse in third place. He's going to be ecstatic with that. I mean, that's a fantastic result for him. Noor Hendricks in fourth. Jason Isherwood in the top five. Good for him. Wentworth in sixth position. Then Ian McKenzie in seventh place. Ian in the Milk Porsche, in the charismatic colors of the Milk Porsche, in seventh position. Clinton Riddell in eighth. Koenig into ninth place. He made it into the top 10. He'll be happy with that. And then rounding up the last three, Fasagi Kersop. And we've got ATK car at the back there. That's our safety car, driven by the founder of ATK Arena, Warren. And he's going to be in that GT4 car. He's been putting some laps in himself. And the GT4 car in the back there is going to keep these guys honest. And also
what rig's he using? Because isn't Jason using his?
I know. This is what I'm thinking. Is he using a keyboard?
What happens? What happens if we need a safety car? At least the safety car is on track.
Yeah, now he's got a G29 set up, so he should be okay in the safety car at the back there. But it's nice to have the safety car. The last time we had it, it really paid dividends. What could have been a ruined race for many gave the guys a fighting chance at a circuit where it's possible to get to use a fighting chance.
Yeah, I mean, that for me was amazing. We spoke about it in our incident report on that Monday. And I mean, how many guys? I think there were 7 or 8 guys involved in that literally that would have been their race done on the first lap. And most of them were, it wasn't a mistake. I mean, it wasn't somebody doing something stupid or an over-aggressive pass. It was a driver literally making a mistake, spinning out and connecting a whole bunch of cars. So all of their races affected. Bring out a safety car, and suddenly those guys that could have been out on lap 1 ended up scoring points in Bathurst. So it worked a charm. And I think that's what I love with the guys at ATK. Like, it's always about trying to improve the series, learning from the series. What can we do to make things better? So that's awesome. And I think the drivers need to they need to be aware of that. There's a lot of hard work that goes into putting the show together behind the scenes, you know?
Indeed. And what a show it is. And of course, the show would not be possible without Elgato, Corsair, AMD, and of course, Logitech, our sponsors as well. And today we've got in the pro category, we've got Mobile joining us, and they'll be joining us for today with their livery on our championship leader. And in your mind, Marius, the championship winner, Zahir Essa. But back to the Pro-Am category over here, we've got the Mercedes-Benz leading the charge. That is Jason Webb now. What is Jason going to do? Is he going to have fun with the guys, or is he just going to drive into the distance? Has he got a point to prove? What do you think is going to go down? Oh, Ian McKenzie on screen now.
Before I get to that, we've lost Duggan. So Raymond Duggan, I think, wasn't he qualified in 4th?
Oh my goodness.
So I don't see him lined up. So maybe he's a problem logging into the server, or he didn't log in time. We've seen that happen to a couple of drivers. So
oh no,
that's unfortunate. But to answer your question from Jason's perspective, nah, he's not going to play around with the guys. I think what he's going to look for here, he has an opportunity to have a good start and literally just get into a racing rhythm to smash as many laps, because the next round is Spa. Way bigger circuits, but very similar in terms of fast, sweeping corners, having a good rhythm, and that's what you're going to want there, is that lap consistency. So he's going to want to have a good start as Jason and literally race away with it and just put in consistent lap times. He's not going to be showboating here. He needs the win because he needs to score points. I think he's just outside the top 10 overall, even though I think he missed the first 2 rounds. So he's really been good. So he's going to try and score maximum points here to look after and definitely wanting to finish top 10 at the end of the season.
Indeed, and I think, as you said, Jason has been exceptionally fast. And Marius, that's an interesting observation. These 2 circuits, this one and Spa, do feel very similar. They really do, and I think there are some similarities that can be carried over, and a win here, even if it does mean a win in the Pro-Am category for him, it's a good confidence booster. Even after a big loss, if Mike Tyson took a loss, it's always nice to come back and get a win, and maybe Jason needs that win under his belt. So actually, you might be right. Let's see if he just drives away with it, because he's got the pace on second place man Kunos Strauss.
No, I mean, he's got a second in the bag. I mean, that is massive. So you're going if he consistently does that second per lap in the race, I mean, he's literally going to streak away with this thing over 50 minutes. So that's, I think, what he's definitely going to want to do. But like I said to you, it's also about championship. So he would have set himself some targets, and I think definitely he'd want to finish for his first season. He wants to finish top 10 at the end of it all when we wrap it up at Kyalami. He's just outside that at the moment, so this will be disappointing for him to be in ProAms because there's only a maximum points that he can now score. So he needs to make sure it's a win. And this is also cool for him because he hasn't had the chance to lead out. He's always been around 11. So when you get into turn 1, there's all sorts of chaos going on. Whereas now for him, he's going to get to turn 1. He should, with a clear track ahead of him.
And I tell you what, his starts have always been quite good. So I'm quite keen to see how he does with his starts. As one of the Lamborghinis at the back there, that's Kesop, gets it a little bit out of shape there, gets a little bit out of cue.
He's warming up his brakes. He came through 130R flat out and found a bunch of cars all parked, like a parking lot.
Okay, so can I just say that your brakes are warm now? So, well, let's get to the start of this fantastic race. We've got Jason Webb in front. Kunos in second position. Behind Corner, we've got Noor Henderson. Next to him, Marino Adriaanse. Behind that, Jason Isherwood as they make their way towards the start line. The start line is quite a way down the circuit there, so we're going to have to wait for them. It's a waiting game now. Everybody's eyes on the lights, fixed on the lights. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get started. Jason Webb in lead for the first time in the 80K Pro Series, at least across the start line. Off we go. We have green flag racing. Jason Webb with a fantastic start. Goes into the distance. Adriaanse catching up quite nicely there. Harding holding on to the outside line. Adriaanse goes down the inside. It's side by side there. A very close battle for second place. But Adriaanse gets it. Adriaanse gets past. And now somebody else having a look down the inside there of that McLaren. Harding still in, not Harding, Cornerstrasse in the third position there with, we've got the Ferrari of Noor Hendricks now challenging for fourth place.
Yeah, you see, it's exactly what you said. If you get out of position heading into the first of the S's, the S curves, it's so difficult to then get the car stopped and turned again. And then, listen, both of them did really well there because, there's a proximity meter in the car, so they know where the other driver is, and they both left each other with enough space because it's so easy, and we've seen this happen, guys tangling over each other, and they both respected each other as drivers there. So that was really good to see. A 50-minute race, so why do you want to go do something in turn 2 and 3? Jason Isherwood looking very racy in the Bentley, putting Noor Hendricks under early pressure, and I like this. This hairpin's got a couple of different lines through here as well, so there is, like you said earlier, it's probably one of the better places for overtaking if you get it lined up right, but it's also a very easy one to go defensive, so that's what I always like, the different lines out of that corner, and we'll see that later in the race, I'm sure.
Indeed, as we now go on board with Isherwood now, he's chasing down Hendricks as one of the milk cars goes wide. That's Mackenzie running wide. Kersop's also off in the distance there. Mackenzie runs wide at the back there, but the race goes on here in front with Isherwood now in fifth position. Oh, Wentworth has his eyes fixed on Isherwood now. Wentworth having a look down the inside there in the background. We've got in third position the McLaren with Reno in second place as they now go into the tight section over here. The Wentworth car there now coming up behind Isherwood once again. He didn't manage to get past. He did have a little bit of a look-see there as they now go onto the main straight once again.
Yeah, listen, I mean, that's also the thing. We've spoken about it a few times at the last few circuits where there are places where you're going to get overtakes done and there are places that you're not. So through 130R is not. So what you want to try and do is get as close as possible to under braking at the chicane, have an opportunity to run up the inside of someone. But that's easier said than done when you're sitting on the tail of somebody going through a 225 kilometer an hour corner, one little miss of the apex and you are in big trouble. So it's about lining up so you can have a shout at the guy 3 or 4 corners later. That is not a place to try and put your nose up the inside of anyone. Look, we've seen passes happen there. That's a very brave man.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, the Lamborghini goes past there. That is Koenig and Kersop and the guys having a bit of a fight at the back here. Koenig now finding himself in the thick of things. I've been chatting to him this week. He's really has been improving quite a bit, and now he finds himself in a 4-way battle. Koenig Fusaki, Duggan behind that.
No, so Duggan's made it. So
Duggan made it in.
but he's joined, obviously started in last position. We know his pace. I think he was the 4th fastest qualifier. So what he's got to do is very quickly get past these guys that are having their own in-race battle and not get caught out by them. And I mean, as I said, 50 minutes, not an ideal start for him, whatever the problem was, but he can still work his way through the crowd. Yeah, the leaders haven't got too far ahead. Webb's opened up nearly 4 second gap already, so like we thought he might do. But there's lots of other racing further through the field. We see Duggan coming onto the back of, I think that's Versace. No, that's actually, he's having a go at Koenig there in the Audi. So I think Koenig's going to lost a few more positions, running wide.
Oh, they touch. Duggan and Koenig touch. Duggan and Koenig touch over there at the X. Oh my goodness, if one of the Ferraris goes past, that was Versace, looks like it.
That's exactly what I said. Like, it's so easy to fall over each other through these corners, and especially through the spoon curves. There's some very different lines in terms of where you position your car, and they just obviously caught Duggan out there. It looks like he's given that position back. So for me, that's nice to see. I know Jonathan Benson, Wayne Riddell will be watching that, and we might see any penalties being issued in race. But I like to see a driver going, you know what, that was my mistake. There's a position back. Sorry about that, and they carry on racing. So that's the right attitude. It does look like he's given that position back.
Well, the guys are racing at a pace of about a 2:03 at the moment, so that pace is definitely going to be dropping shortly as we now jump aboard with Noor Hendricks in 4th position at the moment, behind the McLaren there of Corne Strauss. Jason Isherwood still looking on, and these guys are running line astern here as we once again go live in the bottom screen. That's Duggan and Koenig again having a bit of a battle of it there, and I've got to say our producer's on point at the moment, getting all the action for us.
You saw Duggan ran wide, and then Koenig got on the power too early and got it totally crossed up, which basically gifted that position to Duggan, who's now got past him. So yeah, Koenig's now at the back of the field. Our safety car obviously doing duty with Warren driving it, just having fun. Obviously don't read too much into it. It's a GT4 spec car, which is apparently quite new to Assetto Corsa. Apparently the guys are loving driving it, but obviously nowhere near the performance capabilities of the GT3. Now, if you go and watch car races like the Nürburgring 24-hour, there's a GT4 class, there's a GT3 class. So this is kind of where you're going to find more of the gentleman races in real world terms, racing in the GT4 car. So very, very nice that Assetto Corsa has brought that along as well.
I'll tell you what, those cars are really fun to drive. It feels more for me like the kind of tin-top cars that I've driven over the years, and the GT3 cars have a lot more downforce. Having said that, the power difference isn't big, but it's the way those GT3 cars use the power, and they use it so effectively. It's just insane, the lap time differences, as we see Isherwood running ever so slightly wide there, and Noor Hendricks now in the left-hand, keeping the left-hand side of the circuit. And these two out front here still battling for second position. Corne Strauss has a look down the inside. Down the main straight now they go. Going into the first turn just before the S-curves. Who's going to take it? We've got the McLaren on the inside, the Audi on the outside. Audi's got the line so far. Audi's got the pace so far. Yeah. And he managed to take that back.
Yeah, that was interesting to see. So, I mean, straight line speed of that Audi clearly evident there. It's a dominant car because we got very, very bad drive out of the second part of the chicane. And I thought, well, that's it. You know, Corne Strauss has him licked. And you saw Corne was like, I need to try and get behind him so I can try and slipstream so I can have a run into turn one. But, yeah, that's confidence now for Adrianza because he knows, listen, I've got the straight line speed. So he's going to have to get past me somewhere else. And that is the one thing. This is a very difficult circuit, I think, to overtake because of the flowing nature of it. So it's a fast track, but it's flowing. You know, you want for overtaking, you want something where the guys are going to literally go fast corner and stop dead. Well, Noor Hendricks getting probably crossed up in the Ferrari, running wide, coming out of Degner, and that's certainly going to give Jason Isherwood a chance. Have a look at him under brake and through the hairpin. Oh, he's got it.
Oh, goodness. Wow. Corne Strauss is not holding any punches here. As we look on at both screens, we can see all the action happening here on screen. Corne Strauss not holding back at all. And he's here to win today by the looks of things.
Don't you love it when the drivers make you look like a complete idiot as a commentator? I'm just saying, it's such a difficult circuit to overtake. It's fast and flowing, blah, blah, and then overtake happens right in front of us and not even in a usual place. So I'm assuming Adrianza's probably got on the power a bit early, maybe through Degner, and got bad drive because he literally passed him even before they got to the hairpin. So great drop, Corne Strauss. And now we'll see, was he really being held up by the Audi? But we do know the speed of the Audi down the straight. So if Adrianza can really get things lined up nicely through the chicane here, he could have a run at the McLaren when they get to turn one.
Yeah, definitely a run at the McLaren is possible, but Isherwood now trying to have a run at this Ferrari over here. Now, has the Bentley got... Oh, he gets a little bit of oversteer on the exit there. Now, the thing is, on that exit, if you run on that curb on the right-hand side a little bit too much, the car's unstable, you get oversteer. You pay for that oversteer all the way down here. And he's now lost out any advantage that he had going into that section as he goes hard on the brakes there. He's a bit faster on his sector time now. He's definitely braked later that time. And that's see him catch up to Noor Hendricks once again. Now through the S's here, we can't overtake through here. But definitely, I think he's going to try and set something up for later on. Marius, where do you think that something is going to happen?
No, well, I think for me, this section here is to get right on the tail of the guy behind you, get your rhythm lined up, and then obviously Degner's a very tricky corner. Guys often get it wrong, outbrake themselves because it's quite fast, even though it is like a 90 right. The best opportunity is under braking for me going into that hairpin. We saw Cornet Strauss getting the pass down. Have a look how deep he runs up. So yeah, and there we go. We've got him now. So that's what happens. Noah Hendricks gone and got a bit of a twitch and got very bad drive out of the corner. I don't know why Jason went so conservatively up the inside, because for me, the minute you see a twitch through Degner like we saw with Noah Hendricks, that I think is how Cornet got past Adrian.
I think we lost Wentworth. He's just got it sideways going into that hairpin there. And as you were saying, that's such a tricky hairpin. And it seemed to me like Noor Hendricks, Wentworth, and Isherwood made mistakes in those sections over there and negated each other's attempts. Unfortunately, we were
100%. I think Isherwood was trying to go up the inside once, and he ended up obviously getting on the power too early, and then getting himself into a very crossed up Bentley, which didn't help him get any drive out of there. But we just saw in the background through the chicane, Mackenzie and Riddle having a great spat. Riddle just got past him there as well. So that's the place for me where most of the overtaking is going to happen, because like you said, it's a first gear corner for a lot of the cars. So you're coming through that pace and you're stopping the car, and that is always an opportunity for overtaking is under heavy braking conditions. When it's fast and flowing like this, it literally is follow my lead, and it's a great super tube. Riddle running very, very deep. He's going to be compromised here. So this could hand Mackenzie that position back, because he's going to have better drive out the corner. But looks like he's kind of backed him up. Well done.
Yeah, I think Mackenzie's car might have damage. It does seem to be a little bit slow here. We've got Mackenzie currently. Yeah, it looks like there's a slight speed difference over here, but he has got a slipstream. Goes into the corner now. Mackenzie and Riddell are very good friends, so no love lost here. Mackenzie running a little bit wide. He's going to tuck it in down the inside. He's having a look down the inside through the S's. He's back on the bumper. So Mackenzie back in it now, and he could just bide his time here. Riddell did make one or two mistakes. And we saw Riddell, even in practice earlier on, running a little bit wide at times. So if Mackenzie can stick to the back of him, an opportunity might present itself or not.
You know, we've spoken, Ernest, as well. Like, when you get to, as a driver, there's certain parts of the circuit where you know overtaking can't happen. And it's at places like that where you don't worry about the mirrors. I know it's hard. In your head, you've got to tell yourself, listen, I'm good through here. So let me just focus on nailing this sequence of corners. Because if you nail them, heavy under braking there.
I felt that.
Wow. I mean, it was nice that we were on board at that point as well. But I think that's what a driver's got to do. And you say, listen, this is where if I focus here, I can open up that little gap and nail it. Instead of when you're car watching through there, and you just get one of the turn-ins wrong for the S section, that snaky section. I mean, you are in big trouble, you know. And it's really big trouble.
I've gone off a couple of times this week, and I tell you, there's a few places here where you can spin and slide, and you'll probably be okay. But there are a few places here where you make a mistake, and it's heavy damage guaranteed. So someone that doesn't want to be making any mistakes now is Noor Hendricks, going through that sweeping left-hander there. And of course, oh, look at that. We've got Isherwood having a look down the inside into the chicanes over here. Hendricks gets it back. Noor Hendricks gets it back. Fantastic stuff from him.
But I love seeing that, because we've mentioned Jason's been a demon on the brakes going into turn one. And that was what he looked for. He outbraked Noah Hendricks, but unfortunately a little bit of outbraking himself as well, and running far too deep into the chicane. But the cool thing is, that is pressure for Noah Hendricks. Now he knows, listen, this guy wants to get past me, so we'll start playing some mind games on him. But I mean, look up ahead of Jason Webb. It's kind of what we predicted. He hasn't had the opportunity racing in pros to lead out, to have a clean track ahead of him, to get into a rhythm. And he's opened up nearly 8.5 second lead at the moment. So what you might find is he'll kick into a bit of time management, get into just try and lap consistent lap times, set a time
Yeah.
that you want to kind of be clocking every time. You're not putting too much wear and tear and strain on the tires. And I think that's kind of where Jason is at the moment. It's up to 9 seconds now. So, man, this is good for him. This is good for his confidence. 2 weeks' time, I think we're at Spa. So he's going to be in the pros. That's where he should have been if he didn't have some technical hassles. But nice to catch up with him as well, because often when the leader runs away like this, there's so much racing going on further back that we never get to see them. So good job, our director, cutting there. But the battle between Noah Hendricks and Jason Isherwood is a cracker. They were side by side through the hairpin there as well, and going through 200R now as well. Another great corner that you've really got to be committed to and get the line right. Because if you get it wrong there, you're going to touch a bit of grass and then you tickets.
Yeah, now there's a couple of places, as you said, on the circuit here, as we watch Adrianza on the big screen over there go onto the back straight section as they make their way down to 130 odd. At the bottom of your screen there, of course, we've got the action thick and fast with Isherwood going down the inside in the background there. Just look at that. Isherwood side by side. Who's going to back out? Isherwood backs out. Hendricks cuts across. Good moves from both of them. The pressure is on now as they go into the Casio triangle over here. And it's a quick...
that was cracking to watch. He's actually got spoon curves lined up very well, as Jason Isherwood. So he got fantastic drive out of that corner. But the problem is he's now compromised because what does he do? Does he back off and slot in behind Noah? Well, no, he can't. He's got to try and have a run at him because he had so much better drive out of the corner, but then completely compromised when you get to 130R because he had to then back out of it. And look how much time he's lost here. So it's very tricky. I think sometimes in places like that, you might think, not going to happen here. Let me rather roll off the gas and line up behind him and try and do what I did last time, get him through the S's. But it's compromised him big time, as we saw for him. That's a brave man that tries to go up the inside.
Yeah, Mackenzie over here. And Mackenzie's having a good look at Riddell now. Still right behind him. Still in the fight in the Milk Porsche over there as they go through the left-hand. And now this is, of course, the Dunlop curve. And this Degner section over here, it's a quick throw the car right. The car gets light. What am I supposed to do? And then hard on the brakes for the next right-hander. What a tricky section, man. What a tricky section.
Because, it's so easy as well, like your brake point. You just miss it there and you're going to run wide. You're off the circuit. And then because, again, it's two corners. I mean, those two corners link up as one, essentially. So you really have to line up. Oh, that's contact.
Mackenzie makes contact there. Just this bit of a nudge. That was a bit of an elbow tap. I think that might be okay.
Yeah, I'd like to have seen that like with our aerial shot because I think he dived him up the inside. So which is perfect. So obviously Riddell can't then turn in on him. So that for me, you're going to have that's an overtake. I mean, that looks fair and square. Adrianza looking a lot closer on the back of Corné Strauss than that McLaren. Obviously, Isherwood trying to work at getting back where he belongs, which is right on the back of Noah Hendricks. And obviously, we saw Wentworth making a mistake earlier, and that's dropped the Lexus off the back of this little battle. So he's like 5 seconds off of that. I'm quite interested to see how Duggan's getting along. He's in 9th place now, but obviously for him, if Mackenzie and Riddle keep battling, that's going to help him close that gap as well. So he qualified 4th. Obviously had some issue getting into the game and had to start from the back. So he's got a bit of a catch-up drive going on here.
Well done to him for getting to 9th position as we go on board. Eye in the sky. I love this view, the chopper cam. And we see Rino Adrianza chasing down Corné Strauss. And Corné Strauss absorbing that pressure. He's a half a second ahead. But he's just absorbing that pressure like it ain't no thing. I mean, well done to him for staying in the fight. And I'm holding thumbs to him. 32 minutes and 53 seconds or thereabouts of racing left. And that's how much time and pressure Corné Strauss is going to have to withstand from this man over here, Rino Adrianza, in the number 4 Audi.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly 20 minutes goes when the guys have got some good battles going on. It looked like in the background, Noah Hendricks ran wide there as well. No, yeah, he definitely. I think he's ran because Jason looks a lot closer through there as well. But for me, even though we know that Adrianza in the Audi has got the straight line speed, it's literally just that one section where we saw the advantage. But here it's about getting a car that is well set up. And,
well, what do we have here? What do we have here?
No, I think Nerd definitely made a mistake. So great that we've cut on board with Jason. Now, this is where he's got the good drive out of here. See, now he's compromised here again because you can't hang around the outside. You can't. So he's going to try and undercut here, get up the inside of him. and he's got him backed out of it. Now he has the drive. This is the battle. Now he might have a chance at him through 130R. No.
It's difficult to get the drive when you're on the inside like that. It's because you got to run it wide. If you run it wide, the back of the car steps out. That was a tricky section, man. That was a tricky section.
A better position for him. Watch him under braking now at the chicane again, because now this is better. Last time he found himself very compromised. Oh, he's gone and dropped off the back of him. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But
I think he didn't use enough of 130R. He didn't go wide enough at the entrance of 130R, I don't think, and he didn't set himself up for that next corner. I think he lost a bit of speed through 130R.
But he's learning. But you see how tricky it is, because like a guy makes a mistake, you get better drive, but then it's so tricky, because where do you overtake him? Because often you put yourself up the inside like we saw earlier, and you get completely compromised. So I think he's got to rely on the fact that the pressure that he's putting Noah Hendricks under is going to pay dividends. Noah's going to make a mistake. We've seen him make one or two, and then Jason needs to make sure he's right on his ass to be able to capitalize on that.
But that's the thing, though. It's about applying that pressure. Sometimes you got to go, you know what? I've got 30 minutes of racing left. If all goes well, I'm probably only going to be able to overtake one person, and that's going to be the guy in front of me. So why don't I just stay behind that guy for 15 minutes and then eventually start chipping away? Because the lunges don't pay off if you've got 2 or 3 failed lunges, and then his confidence starts wearing thin, his patience wears thin too, and then you got a problem. So I definitely think to hang around at the back of Hendricks would be a good idea.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing, is just up ahead of him is a battle for podium position.
Exactly.
So he doesn't want to get caught up, because he's clearly quicker than Noah Hendricks. So he doesn't want to get caught up here for too long, and then the podium position races away.
Exactly.
And those two guys could also fall over each other. We've seen Corné Strauss and Renard Janse having a couple of looks there as well. So yeah, I would want to get this pass done as quickly as possible. But Noah, you can go defensive here very, very easily. And I think that's what he's got himself. He's figured out where he can put his car at the moment. That Ferrari into a very wide Ferrari. And the boat of a Bentley is kind of struggling to find a harbour at the moment.
What I found in this game also works is just driving really close to the guy in front. Really, really, really close, so that he's got a mirror full of Bentley, and sooner or later a lot of the guys do make mistakes, but the gap between him and Noor is just too big at the moment. That's not real pressure at the moment. The only pressure comes from the lunges, and then the lunges don't work. As we can see now, he gets very close, and this time gets him right up close behind the Ferrari this time. Let's see if we can get any momentum going onto the straight. But you're right, Marius, there is a battle for podium up front there. I just assumed that they were further down the road. They are literally up the road. And if we can get past, then as you say, that podium is up for grabs.
Like, I obviously haven't. I think what's tricky in this game as well, and like when we've chatted to a couple of guys who spend a lot of time racing, it's quite difficult to get a feeling for going door to door. So
it is.
In real racing, you can feel it, you can see it, there it is. And that's what I've noticed a few times with Jason, is like, he doesn't want to make a mistake, he doesn't want to tap Noah. So when Noah makes a little mistake, he's almost going too conservatively, like, let me just stay out of the way, I don't want to tap him here. And that's unfortunate, because I think that is one thing that is difficult in simulator racing, is to get that feel for door to door. Because for me, there have been a couple of opportunities where I've said, that's it, he's got him, Noah's made a mistake, and then he's almost backed out of it as well. Yeah. So the guys are showing the drivers a lot of respect for each other at the moment. Stop it. Let's make some passes now.
I think, here we go. We got the camera. Oh, he goes for the outside line. He gets the overtake. This time, does he make it stick though? It's going to be close. On the exit, it's going to be all about this exit here. Isherwood's on the outside. He's got the line for the next corner. Hendricks has got the inside line for the next corner though. They go through the sweeping right-hander. Hendricks does not back down. Isherwood in front at the moment. Isherwood could go defensive. Oh, it's close. They touch. Oh my goodness me. Into the left-hander though. Isherwood takes it. Finally, Isherwood can get the visor down and start chasing the guys in front.
That was great. I mean, again, like, I think a little mistake, and that was commitment, through the right hander, that lining up for the hairpin, and even he was compromised. Look how deep he had to go under braking into the hairpin. But again, that's why I said that is a corner that there are a couple of options when you do want to come on the power, and you can go around the outside there, as we clearly saw him do now. Now it's a chance for us to see what Isherwood can do. He just needs to try and get a little bit of a gap, so he's not worrying about a Ferrari filling his mirrors, and he can get on chasing down Renaud Rance up the road. But he got a bit of a wiggle coming out of the chicane, and Noor all over the back of him. So expect some defensive running heading into turn one. Have a look at this.
Oh, how entertaining is this, Marius? Now, we wrote Noor off thinking that that's going to be the end of this race, but look at this. Oh, Noor touches the curb, then almost takes out Isherwood as he bounces over the curb there.
You see the black line that he left there. Or locked up a right front, taking curb, but doing well not to clatter into the back of Jason there. This is brilliant racing. I mean, it was a time flying, 26 minutes to go, and it's a cracker. Jason Webb, yeah, well done. Running away with it like we expected.
No
second,
problem.
third, fourth, and fifth. What a battle. I'm loving it.
What a battle. This is one of the most exciting battles we've seen all season here. We've got Isherwood in the lead currently, but it's not over yet, says Noor Hendricks in the Ferrari. Their pace is actually quite similar. Noor's best time is a 2:03.4, and Isherwood's best time is a 2:03.6. Currently, both of them aren't running at that exact pace. They're about a second or so off, but let's see. Maybe Noor's still got something left in him yet, as he tucks in behind Isherwood through the hairpin turn 11. Now they go through turn 12 on the way to Spoon Curve.
I just think, just watching the drivers over the course of the season, Jason seems to make less mistakes. We've seen Noor always being there and thereabouts and making a couple of braking there, making a couple. See, that's a little bit naughty when you're under braking. You tap a guy and push him wide. But
that was a soft touch, though, man. That was a little love. I've done that plenty times.
I know. That's what we always used to do in karting. As the guy's on the maximum of his brakes, just give him a little tap and you push him out wide and you go, thank you very much. So at least Clinton, but these two guys are looking to fall over each other, because this is not, that proximity meter is screaming inside the car. Car right. It's mad. But
I love it.
Yeah, I'm looking. Duggan's now 2.3 off the back of them. And like we said, if these two guys keep battling like this, they're either going to fall over each other, but they certainly are going to be slowing each other down, because it's a proper little battle here. So Raymond Duggan, look at that. He's now found a second just in that sector. So that's now down to 1.56. There it is. Check the Porsche in the back.
Oh my goodness. Look at that dive bomb maneuver there. He makes it stick. Brilliant. Well done there. But now side by side, they go through the final corner onto the main straight. The Porsche of the milk Porsche there of Ian McKenzie slots in behind. But ladies and gentlemen, look who's coming to join the party. You got Raymond Duggan now, the man that started all the way from the back. The milk car goes down the inside now. That is Ian McKenzie having a look onto Clinton Riddell there. Down the inside. Oh, Duggan comes to have a look and join the party. He's on the outside as they go through the S's now.
Yeah, listen, that is a perfect example of what happens when guys are racing each other. They end up, without realizing that they're losing 1 second a lap. And that Raven's going, thank you very much. He's got tunnel vision. He's trying to go around the outside of Clinton Riddell there.
Gets squeezed there a little bit.
Yeah, good move to just slot in behind him. But this is what he wants. So now he's got one more car to get out the way, and that's going to be Riddell. I think our timing hasn't got amended there until we get to the next sector. But Mackenzie's certainly up ahead, and then obviously it's Riddell and Duggan all over the back of him. So, yeah, good to see racing all the way through the field, because I was a little bit worried with a slightly depleted class that we might not have much race action. But my word, this has been a cracker ProAM round 10, 80K Pro Series at Suzuka. I'm loving it. This is good racing. I'm
just checking something on the board there. If we could get eyes on Mackenzie, maybe get a replay on Mackenzie. I think Mackenzie's had an incident further back. He's fallen back, and Mackenzie's fallen behind Duggan and Riddell, unfortunately.
He's outbraked himself somewhere, because he would have been going through Degner, I think, when we broke camera shot.
Yes.
These guys. Yes. So he might have got it wrong running through Degner. But yeah, I'm sure maybe we can get a replay of that, and we'll obviously see it adjusted now. On the board, it's still showing Mackenzie in 7th.
I've got my cheat sheet going over here.
There we go. He's dropped down behind them.
Yeah.
Well spotted.
Yeah, that's a pity. I was hoping you would be able to hold those two off as the next battle resumes with Noor Hendricks. And Noor, as I said, has got the pace. He's got the pace on him. He's about 0.2 of a second potentially faster, but now currently 0.6 of a second down and slotting in behind the big Bentley through the fast S's over here. And the number 907 Ferrari having a very good look there The thing about these Ferraris is they move around quite a bit. It's one of the cars on the game that you can actually manhandle a little bit and throw around and slip and slide. So when we see Noor getting it sideways there, it's actually quite controllable in the Ferrari specifically. The Bentley, not quite as much. So Noor can afford to get it as squirrely as he has been. Maybe start applying a little bit of pressure now onto the back of Jason Ishwood.
Yeah, it's been good to see that we thought, okay, well, I made the call earlier that I think he's being held up. Is Jason Ishwood? He's certainly the quicker car. And now we realize, well, that's actually not the case. These two are just running such similar lap times that it really is a battle. And what I love with motor racing is like some corners, some parts of the circuit, one car works better than others, but at the end of the day, they're still doing the same lap time. Yeah, so it is through Degner. He's gone and run wide through the first part of Degner. And that's gone and made them, and then got power too early on the exit. So there we go. So that's what happened there. That damage will be too serious. But what will be serious is a dent to his ego now. He's like, damn it. I mean, I've just gone and battled hard to get past all these guys, and now he's got Duggan before he gets hold of Riddell again. So he'll be back on the back of them in no time because we know he had good pace.
Yeah, that is such an unfortunate turn of events there for Ian McKenzie as we now go back on board with Noor Hendricks. This battle taking place here now as they go through the Casio Triangle onto the main straight. The very long main straight here. This is a sixth gear corner or sixth gear straight for some of the cars, fifth gear for some, as we now watch the Bentley going very fast down the straight, 250 kilometers an hour into sixth gear, up to about 256, hard on the brakes there into the right hand. He's going to try and take it a little bit to the left into second gear now and tuck it in tight. Car runs wide onto the asphalt section on the left-hand side there, and now through the S's. This is the third gear section in the Bentley, down to second again. And now flat on the power. Keep it left, keep it tucked in tight over the curbs there. The Ferrari tries to do the same. Now into the right-hander, still second gear. And now up the hill. This is the section here where they want to keep it pinned as early as possible into third gear. 160 kilometers an hour through that corner, up into fourth. Now 200 k's an hour as they go into the Degner section over here. Degner curve and then into turn 9. Unbelievable stuff is the circuit, man. And then, of course, the figure 8. This is where they complete the figure 8.
Yeah, you can see that little Bridgestone board up top is actually the run to 130R above when they make their loop on the way back. But, you know, I was having a look at heading through turn 1. And I just realized, like, it reminds me a lot. Anybody remember the old Kyalami circuit? It reminds me of my two favorite corners there, Nashua 1 and 2, that takes you onto the old back straight. Obviously, those were going to the left. But it's one of those corners where your entry is pretty quick and you've got to just have the confidence to let the car run wide because you, like there, need to turn right, but the car's kind of going left. And it's about being able to stop it and get it turned back in. It's a proper challenging corner. I love it. So it reminds me a lot of Nashua 1-2. Does turn 1, obviously just going to the right instead of left like Kyalami did. But great circuit. Nice to catch up with our race leader who's got a 12.5 second lead at this stage with 20 minutes to go. So, yeah, listen, I mean, brilliant. I kind of knew this is what would happen. We spoke about the big difference between pros and pro-ams, and Jason always running top 10 in pros. We saw it in qualifying a second quicker than anyone else. It really was his race to mess up today. For me, it was always going to be a pro-am win for Jason Webb.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, 12 seconds ahead is Jason Webb in the Mercedes-Benz. And finally a win under his belt. And yeah, although, as you say, it will be Pro-Am, it's such a great morale booster and such a nice step in the right direction. You want that luck to change. You want to get a couple of wins under the belt. You want to get, I think it's going to feel good for him. And I think he's going to be happy to take that win home today. But someone that's not happy with third place is Rino Adrianza, slotting in behind the McLaren over there. And he's still having a look with Corne Strauss in second place, absorbing that pressure the entire time. Well done to him. I mean, he's had some issues where mistakes have been made. And it doesn't look like many mistakes have made so far. I do not want to apply the commentator's curse, but so far so good for Corne Strauss.
Yeah, it's a very real thing that commentators
No.
At the end of this race, he's going to be buggered. I know it's saying Zed Harding, but it's Corne Strauss. At the end of this race, he's going to be so exhausted because to absorb that pressure of 15 minutes is massive. I mean, last weekend, I mean, I haven't raced in 3 years. Last weekend, we got a very late call up to go and race in the Mandela Bay 500.
Yes, I heard about that. How did it go?
I've never done a 2-hour stint in a car, ever. And where to do that? And it was a car I'd never driven before, because we arrived there on Friday and the car wasn't there. It arrived at 6 o'clock that evening. So the first time we got to drive it was in qualifying.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, and yeah, you are like, I was exhausted after that, because the physicality, I mean, we're also driving a backdraft Cobra, so you're getting buffeted by the wind.
Yes.
And then it was obviously not the friendly city, but the windy city, sitting with like 60, 70 kilometer an hour gusts. So it was flipping busy. And that first hour was murder. But the second hour for me, funnily enough, I was in the zone, I had a rhythm going, and things were really cool. But it is tiring. You don't realize the level of concentration going on here. And it's no difference whether you're sitting in a real race car or you're sitting in a simulator rig at home. The level of concentration is exactly the same. Obviously, the consequences are a little bit different. If I have a lapse in concentration, I'm in the wall for a little, whereas I'm in the wall virtually. But for sure, Corné Strauss is doing a great job absorbing all that pressure, because Adrianza has kept him honest. I mean, they're running similar paces, what we saw with Isherwood and Hendricks as well. So I'm surprised, because this circuit can become a little bit of follow my leader. And in a way, I guess that is what we're seeing, but you're always in with a shout here. And know the pressure could come. And we're getting to the twilight zone now, 16 minutes ago. It normally happens with 10 minutes to go, where suddenly guys are struggling with mental fatigue and possibly tire wear as well. So, expect things to heat up again. I don't think this is how the race is going to end.
I definitely think that's a thing. It's a very real thing to me that the guys get tired in the last 10 minutes. And I think it's just the fact that it's the last 10 minutes. If it was a 2-hour race, if it was a 3-hour race, the last phase would be the phase where the guys might trip themselves up. And it's always great to head into that phase with a situation like this, because the guy in third position, Rino Adrianza, is going to challenge for second. The guy in second place is under immense pressure. So you've got that situation. Something has to give. And I can't wait to see it unfold.
Yeah, but I've just actually picked up now. Sorry, while I want to agree with what you're saying now. I've just seen Duggan's gone and made a mistake somewhere, because he's now 5 seconds behind Mackenzie, who is 5 seconds behind Riddle. So that, for me, if you remember, it was Mackenzie who made the mistake and Duggan got past. So we've obviously missed that. Maybe we can find a replay of that at some point. But what you said there is true. And obviously for these guys, they can see the countdown. Like we know what's left. What was lacking for me when I was racing, I had no idea.
You don't.
So literally a checkered flag came out after the first hour, because they had a 1-hour race as well. So I was like, okay, that's an hour down, and then we fueled soon after that. But the next hour literally flew by, but I had no idea, because I didn't have any of that data or telemetry, so I could see what is going on. And, you're not sitting with lap boards and all that type of stuff. So, I didn't have that to worry about. I was just consistent. Just go, do the laps. And at some point, a board will come out and tell you to pit for fuel. Whereas the other guys they can see how much have I got left? How long do I have to hang on for? Well, you got to hang on for 14.5 minutes. and that is a flipping long time. Seriously, around a circuit like this, where it's so easy to make one little mistake and ruin your rhythm. So, it's Suzuka is a challenge. It's one of the circuits that guys want to race and do well at, because it is a driver circuit, same as Spa in 2 weeks' time. So we really are building up nicely to the end of the season with some of my favorite tracks. And obviously we wrap it all up at Kyalami as well. And that's a track where we started. The round one was at Kyalami. The guys know the circuit well. That's for me going to be a cracker showdown as well. So looking forward to the countdown to the end of the season, because it's some of the favorite tracks.
Yeah, I've started, just getting back to what you were saying earlier on about the data, I've started taking my little pit board off when I'm doing laps on the circuit, because I don't want to get distracted by the numbers on the side. But these guys know exactly what's happening. And as the countdown to the end of the season continues, the countdown to the end of this race continues as well, with just 13 minutes left. And now these guys are definitely going to start realizing we need to make a move now.
Yeah, just hearing what you're saying there as well. Like, I mean, for a guy like Jason up front, 11.5 seconds, he will want to set a lap time delta, and he will want that information. And that's what makes, like, in endurance racing, especially where this works well, and that's where the GT3 cars, like in the Intercontinental GT Challenge, those guys are going to work to a lap delta. So they'll go in there and say, right, it's a 9-hour race. This is what we need to be lapping as consistently as possible. And then they do the driver change. Obviously, no driver changes. Yeah, it's a 50-minute race. But for Jason, he'll be wanting to set that lap time delta to make sure that he can stay on that lap pace, lap after lap after lap, because he doesn't have battles to worry about. Whereas these guys, it becomes a little bit more tricky to get your perfect lap time together, because the whole time you're looking in mirrors and you're dealing with the battle. But it's interesting, because it feels for me like Renaud Adriaanse is looking visually like he's fallen a little bit off the back of Cornet Strauss, which is a pity, because I was looking forward to a showdown to the end. But like we know, as it usually happens in this, things do change, and we're probably going to see some changes. I don't know what's happening with Noah Hendrickson. It looks like he's fallen off the back as well. He's like nearly 3 seconds off the back of Jason Isherwood now as well. So things have gone into that quiet phase, but it might still change, as I said, when we get into that 10-minute phase. I don't know this track in terms of tyre wear. Ernest, I don't know if you've had any feedback from the guys in terms of, are tyres going to go off on a circuit like this? I wouldn't imagine it would be too heavy because of its fast-flowing nature of the circuit. There's not too much stop and turn. So I would think tyres would be okay.
As far as the Mercedes go, I know the tires, it's not a problem on this circuit. I do think the Porsches have some issues though, but as far as I know, the Ferrari should be fine. So with regard to the McLaren actually does better for longer races. So this might be on a long sweeping circuit like this. I mean, it's a 2-minute lap. I know they only race for 50 minutes in any case, but it's a long circuit. There's not a lot of tight corners. So maybe the McLaren might work here, and maybe Renaud Adriaanse needs to make a move soon, because maybe the last 10 minutes might not work out for him that well. As we go on board now with Mackenzie in 8th position. Mackenzie 3 seconds down as we go in car. Early on we saw him do that fantastic overtaking maneuver here through the hairpin section. Gets a little bit sideways there on the power, a little bit early. And just look at that into 3rd gear now, but 180 km an hour into the right-hander. That is Duggan there that just came onto your screen.
Yeah, so Duggan's making a bit of a comeback, because remember he was nearly 5 seconds off the pace, and it actually looks like Mackenzie's closing on Riddle up front as well, and so has Adriaanse. Have a look, he's all over the back of Cornet Strauss now. So we were saying, it looks like he's fallen off. Maybe he was taking a breather. I think sometimes I know drivers do that. They say, let me back off a little bit, refocus. Give the car a chance to flip and get itself settled. Okay, now let me go again. Because I think sitting on the back of somebody lap after lap after lap.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about the pressure it puts on the guy in front, but I think for you as well, it can also become frustrating. Then you start doubting whether, can I ever get past this guy? So maybe it's good just to have a little bit of a breather, a little regroup, and then get back off the back of him. And it looks like that's exactly what Renaud Adriaanse has done, because he closed up nicely through that section. Again, it could have been a little mistake from Cornet Strauss. Who knows? Cars look very twitchy through Degner. I love it. What a nice part of the track.
Yeah, now Adriaanse, every time he comes within striking distance, it looks like Cornet is able to just stretch that gap again. So he's just not able to get it close enough. But now, as you say, I mean, it's tricky when you try and stay very close to the guy in front of you, because you've got to be concentrating so hard the entire time. If you want to yourself just get a couple of laps under your belt to get your own rhythm going, it pays to fall back. But the psychological game that gets played if you fall back too far, there's so much happening right here. I don't know what Adriaanse is thinking right now, but I do think there's going to be a sense of urgency as the clock ticks now towards the 9-minute mark. Of course, today's event could not be possible without our partners. We've got Elgato, we've got AMD, and of course, we've got Logitech as well. As the Audi goes through the 130R over there. Wow, that Audi looks so fast and so good in this body kit. This GT3 body kit is just incredible, the way these cars are kitted out. And speaking of seats and kits, Corsair, of course, now available at ATK Arena in Claremont. You can chat to the guys at ATK, atkarena.com for more information. We now see Renaud Adriaanse in shot there. You were saying, Marius.
Yeah, listen, I mean, again, I got all excited. I thought, he was all over the back of him, and now it looks like Cornet's just gone, hi there, let me just open up a gap. Now, what Cornet's not going to want to be seeing is Koenig up ahead in the Audi. He's obviously running in last position. So now back markers start coming into play. But, I mean, he's got enough of a gap over Adriaanse to make sure that he gets to the back of Koenig and gets the pass done quickly and effectively. Obviously, they'll be showing blue flags. It looks like Koenig has got out of the way. There we go. Good work. So before he's even got to Degner, he's gone and made that pass. So that again gives him a bit of a buffer now, because now it becomes Adriaanse's problem to get past Koenig as well. So that helps. And I think where you catch back markers on the track. Well, Koenig's really getting out the way, making sure he's not involved in anything there. Have a look at the back. Isherwood is now, hey man, I think Isherwood looks like he was visually now, I could actually see him in the background, so maybe he's got some tunnel vision with 7.5 minutes to go with ideas of getting onto the back of Adrianse. Remember I spoke about that earlier, way earlier. If he could get past Noah Hendricks, he was going to be in with a battle for podium, and that kind of disappeared. But with 4 seconds off the pace, I mean, it still is a possibility. So something to watch out for with 7 minutes to go.
Something to also watch out for is back markers as Versace gets overtaken there by Jason Webb through 130 off. Versace in 11th position in that Ferrari over there. Looking good out there, keeping the car on the circuit's what it's all about. But these type of races really is a case of finishing the race. And to finish first, you must first finish, as they say. And that's exactly what Versace is going to do as he makes his way now into the 54th minute or thereabouts. Got about 6 minutes of racing left. Ian McKenzie in the Milk Porsche over there in the characteristic pink and lime green. You can't miss that car, can you?
No, listen, I mean, it's a bit of when I say a standout, I mean, not my style, but it certainly is a standout for the racing teams and the commentators, because it makes it quite easy to identify that car. Yeah, lime green and pink. Who would have thought? He's like the most, he's like the craziest milkshake combo, you know.
But that's the thing. I spoke to the guys about this, and one of the things they were saying is that sim racing is all about, it's a visual thing. You're looking at it on a screen, you know. Unlike the real world racing, you're not at the track, you're actually looking at a screen. And they chose this color specifically because it's so bright and it works in the sim space. So, I mean, we're talking about it right now, so they must be doing something right there, Team Milk.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of cars running like this as normal road going cars in Dubai. I mean, this is sort of the crazy stuff that people do there. It's all about being seen and being noticed. Yeah, I'm just having a look on the timing boards now. If there are any little battles we can watch out for. Jason still sitting at 4.4 seconds off. So I think that's kind of where his podium title has come to an end, because he's not going to close that 4-second gap. So Adrian's
someone's gone off.
Riddell's gone and made a mistake there. So position back to Mackenzie. Now Duggan should get past Riddell here as well. Where's Duggan?
Oh no.
That was a big clatter. So he's definitely gone and lost it in the first part of, look at the front end of that car.
Shame. 5 minutes of the race to go, and that happens.
Yeah, but I think Duggan, I mean, remember Duggan was right on the back. So Duggan's obviously gone and made a mistake as well, because we're not even seeing him in the back of frame. And that was after Riddell made such a big mistake there as well. So yeah, maybe the guys are getting tired now. 4.5 minutes to go. They've got to bring the car home in one piece. Looks like his whole, his splitter looks, his diffuser looks so different at the back as well. I'd love to see that replay, because I don't know.
I'm on board with him now, and I think this car's taken heavy damage. He's now the walking wounded as he tries to limp that car back to base camp. But I mean, he's got 5 minutes left. He's just got to drive that car to the finish line. Duggan now in
Duggan's made a mistake, because have a look. He's 10 seconds off the back of Riddell, and he was very close to Mackenzie. He was 4 seconds behind Mackenzie, so he's obviously gone and made a mistake somewhere as well. So that kind of hasn't worked out for him, because he could have scored some extra points there. Obviously, our top 10 finishers here today do score points for the overall championship. So at the moment, Kasop is in with points. Versace definitely out of the points. He's 20 seconds off the back of him, and Koenig as well not going to be scoring any points as well. So Duggan is in with a point scoring opportunity, but we used to seeing Raymond running a lot higher up. And there is our leader. I mean, flipping, what a masterclass. You know what's interesting? I think he has gone into conservation mode, because he hasn't extended his lead. I think he's just been running consistent lap times, not anything stupid. And it's kind of hovered around the 12 seconds now for the last, 10 or 12 laps or so. Second place, obviously, Corne Strauss. Don't worry about what you're seeing there as Harding. Corne Strauss doing a fantastic job in that McLaren. And it looks like he's seen off the challenge from Reno Adrianse now.
Wow.
So I think this pretty much, unless people do something silly, this is kind of how it's going to finish our podium for the ProAM class here at Suzuka.
A fantastic drive from Corne Strauss. Wow. I mean, I'm really impressed that he's been able to withstand that kind of pressure, and hopefully within the next 3 minutes or so bring the car home. I mean, we've seen Corne Strauss make mistakes in a pressurized situation. and he needed to get that monkey off his back by getting a win like this under the belt. And I mean, Corne Stra should be very proud of that performance so far, man.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I just had a little glimpse. Ishwood's definitely closed that gap a little bit more. You see him coming through 130R and into the chicane, but I don't see, unless one of these guys make a silly mistake, I think...
Two laps to go now at this stage.
I don't think Jason can catch him, but stranger things have happened. But, yeah, man, we were lined up. I thought we were going to have a proper showdown, but the guys have kind of got to this point now where they're like, oh, we'll just finish this race already. It's been a tiring one because there's literally, this track is relentless. You know, there's no place where you can just kick back and say, right, let me just catch a bit of a breather here. There's none of that at Suzuka.
And you know what? You're 100% right. Because the straights, the corners following the straights are so very, very intense that there's a battle happening between Riddell and Mackenzie by the looks of things. If we can just go check that out. If we can get the producer to go have a look at that. Yeah, there's something going on there. Mackenzie runs very wide.
Wow.
Mackenzie runs very wide. Riddell gets back on the circle. Mackenzie's somewhere in the background there.
But no, yeah, he's clattered hard. Duggan gets past him as well. So, but it's interesting. I mean, we were talking about Clinton was in a car that had pretty bad damage. Didn't look like it was driving too well, and suddenly he was all over the back of Mackenzie. So I'm assuming again, this is guys making mistakes. You know, tired, 50 minutes doing silly things, because Mackenzie certainly was way up ahead from Clinton. But Clinton gets that position back now, so that's where he was before he made a mistake in seventh place. So hopefully with a minute to go, that's how it's going to end. Koenig is in with the battle, getting over the back of Fasaki. Has he got past Fasaki? I'm having a look here now. No, so Fasaki should be just ahead of him. So that's another battle that was unfolding. That's why our producer took us there earlier, but I'm not too sure where. Oh, there it is. So there is Sorrel just up ahead in the Ferrari and Koenig in the Audi trying to chase down. But these aren't point scoring positions at the moment. This is really just for pride.
Yeah, but Mackenzie's. I've got Mackenzie on my other screen over here, and he's spinning out a few times now. He spun out again, and the thing is that you know, I do a little bit of coaching on the side, and one of the things I talk about is that if over 50 minutes you make 3, 4, 5 mistakes, that's okay. Because next time you want to try and make 2 mistakes. And next time you want to try and make 1 mistake. And I mean, Mackenzie had a fantastic drive today, but peppered with tiny mistakes that cost him. It's one of those things. You're in the Pro-Am category, you're building your way up. Some of these guys only started racing sims a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So to compete in the premier category like this, that's something in itself. And then to make a couple of mistakes, I just think that's part of the process, man.
No, listen, I mean, exactly, especially at a circuit like this. We've spoken about how tricky Suzuka is. So for you to concentrate for 50 minutes and have a perfect race, never going to happen. Even the top pros are going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
We'll be watching the Formula One drivers or our own GT3 international superstars. They're going to make mistakes. And you're right, Ernest, about minimizing them. And someone that really has made no mistakes today is Jason Webb. And there would have been a bit of pressure on him, kind of saying, listen, I should win this. So you kind of know that coming into it. But I think more for me, it was a case of also being a little bit irritated that he's had a technical issue and he's not racing the pros where he should race. But being a pro competitor that he is, it's about shaking that off and saying, right, that is what happened yesterday. Today, I've got to win. I've got to score as many points as I can because I still want to score top 10 overall in the championship. And he's done a great job to do that. So this for me was a faultless ride. You see, he's kept it at 12 and a half seconds. Look, he's having a bit of fun now. He's starting his he's probably going to try and drift the last section.
I hope not. I hope not. He's flashing the lights. I think he knows he's on camera. I'm sure some of the guys that he normally races with is letting him know you're on camera now, so flash those lights. Oh, don't understeer through the corner now.
He's probably sending a text message. Oh, that's brilliant, Jason.
Mackenzie's waiting for him. This is his friend over here. This is Ian Mackenzie. They're good friends, and they're going to cross the line together. Mackenzie just behind it there. Jason Webb goes across the line.
Oh,
the leader has finished. The race is the radio call to the drivers. And Strauss comes in second place. He is going to be absolutely ecstatic. You can just see from the way that car's moving around. He is absolutely ecstatic.
Hang on, look how close it got with
Wow.
Ishii. It got right on the back of Reno Adrianza. So Adrianza really doing well holding on to that. But great drive for me, Jason Isherwood. William Wentworth as well. He was in with this battle. Then we saw him make a mistake and he kind of never got on the back of the guys again. But he'll be stoked bringing the Lexus home in 6th position. But some good driving. But that was really good. Ernest, good race.
Wow, what a fantastic race. And I got to tell you, the smaller grid today was just fine by me. These guys provided plenty action as Wentworth makes his way across the line. What an action-packed first race. So it's only going to get better, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back after this break with the results. We'll see you then.
Let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me. So now it's changing. I've been going to the top and I got what they not, so I know that they hate that.
He had to slip down all the way into turn one and he was breaking it down.
All these men gonna say what I did and they twist and they work till I fall out. But I know that, so I keep what I'm doing cause I own that. And I stay in the lab and I kill everything, but I don't ever move from my car. Finally back in my home. I'm
Still after the start of this safety car. Jimmy Alpine late to run. So it'll be just about
all in can't beat me up cause I'm back in my zone now.
Having a great scrap and almost banging wheels.
Cause I'm back in my zone now.
Don't get greedy now, mate. Let's go. Settle down.
And we are back with the results. Wow, what a fantastic race. These guys provided the entertainment, but there can be only one winner, one second place man and one third place man to bring out the podium. Marina Adrianza gets third position there in the Audi. Corne Strauss in that McLaren. It's one of the first times we've seen the McLaren on the podium. But Corne Strauss is no stranger. He's been here before, and he is, I'm sure, going to be absolutely ecstatic with that performance. Definitely my driver of the day. To withstand that kind of pressure from Rita Adrianza was just phenomenal. Jason Webb gets first place, but we hoped, and I'm sure he felt like he needed to win this one. And he did by quite a substantial margin. A total domination from Jason Webb there in first position.
Yeah, I like what Jason's done with his hair. He looks really, really good in it.
So good.
Bit of a reverse Japanese flag going on there. But yeah, listen, I mean, Corne Strauss, we've seen him on the podium before. I think if I'm correct, this is Reno Adrianza's first podium. I don't recall seeing him in our top three. So I know you're speaking about guys who are super, super stoked, but I think Adrianza is going to be really, really happy about that. We're going to line up an interview with him so we can ask him. But that's awesome. And we spoke about guys in ProAM getting confidence built up, getting better and better race after race. And that's what's coming through now. Seeing guys like Reno scoring podiums at a very, very difficult circuit. That's Suzuka.
Yeah.
He's done well. I think Reno just joined us now. Reno, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you tired, my man?
Yo, sweating, eh?
That was a battle with Corne of notes. I mean, listen, that was like for us as commentators, we were worried about having a bit of a smaller grid today, but you guys really put on some fantastic race action. Difficult track to overtake, though, eh?
It is. It was weird because I was losing time in certain sectors and gaining on him in certain sectors. So, like, just couldn't find the right opportunity.
And rhythm is what is critical a circuit like that. But we could physically see that. I mean, the cars are going to work better in certain parts of the track, and that's what makes it fun. But it's difficult for you as a driver trying to figure out where the pass is going to happen. Because I think where you had your strength, we saw you had great straight line speed, but it's very difficult to get a pass done into turn one.
Yeah, even the just pulling off on certain corners. Yeah, it was like I just couldn't catch him.
First podium, eh?
Yeah. First
Yay!
podium. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm super chuffed, eh? Yo.
Why do you sound surprised when Mario said that there?
Guys, like it's been a long tournament, eh? And
Yeah.
I've just been like coming up from like the bottom, and I've literally downloaded the game to play in this tournament. So every week I'm literally learning a new track and like trying to get faster.
Reno, it's so cool because that's exactly what we're talking about now. I mean, I was a bit hard hitting of a lot of the guys that have dropped out, but at the end of the day, this is about learning and improving your craft, being noticed, being seen. And we've seen the progression of guys that, like you, were running maybe 15th, 16th in ProAMs, working their way up over the season. And to come to a circuit like Suzuka that is bloody hard, there's no place to rest. One little mistake and it costs you big time. And yeah, you're clocking up podium. So super stoked. Well done, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yay.
Wow, Rino Adrianza gets third position there, his first podium. I mean, what a feeling that must be, eh? To get to, and as he said, this is the reason he got the game. He wanted to compete in the 80K Pro Series, and to get a third place ticked off the list. Well done, Rino Adrianza.
But Ernest, that's exactly what I was saying to you. That's why I was a bit grumpy with Oaks that have now, it's a long season, I'm not going to be in with a win. It's not about that. It's about improving yourself. It's about becoming a better racing driver. No racing driver is going to say, I don't want more track time. Really, what do I need track time for? I'm good enough type of mentality, or there's nothing in it for me. It's about seat time, and I'm stoked that he brought that up because now he's reaping his personal dividends, the personal rewards for the effort that he put in. So well done to him. And we're going to chat to Cornet as well. I mean, that's a proper selfie. I'm not going to tell him that because he looks like he's got some proper guns going on there. But Cornet,
everyone.
But why don't you change your name to J Pepper or something else? A cool racing pseudonym.
I wish I did that. I don't know why I didn't change back to my name. I drove 660 kilometers yesterday from Durban to East London. And I told my mate, listen, I'm going to use your rig to quali. And I put my name and everything, logged into my Steam account. And then today I drove another 660 kilometers back. Made it just in time for the race.
Yo!
So you've had lots of seat time as well.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit tired of driving now.
Were you in a McLaren as well?
Yeah, no, I wish. I know I was in my trusty company car. Faster than a McLaren, I can tell you.
Cornet, just tell us, we had a chat to Reno. I mean, super stoked. That's his first podium. We know it's not yours, but massive pressure he was putting you under. And cool to see the different strengths of the cars at different parts of the circuit.
It was,
And that's what made it such a cool race for us to commentate on. I loved it.
Yeah, well, he was like getting very close to me. And then there were certain parts of the track where I was like extending it. But like I was still jittery until about 3/4 of the race in, and then my nerves settled because then I knew like where I'm gaining. But I had to, with the little track time that I had to really try and learn while I was on there. But I think he made 1 or 2 mistakes, which opened the gap nicely, and that's when my nerves started to settle. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a tough track, because it's a rhythm circuit. Not many opportunities to overtake, and we were actually talking about that as commentators. When you get into that zone, I'm good here. He's not strong here. You can actually stop watching mirrors because you're safe through those sections. But it's relentless, the circuit. You must be exhausted.
Yeah, I'm tired. Hey, it's especially when you go through the S's because you have to kind of balance the car out, and you don't know when your tires start going. If you start turning too much, it's going to start biting at you. So I was trying to be as smooth as possible.
Well done, mate. You were super smooth.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Road trip to Durban and back, and then on the podium in Japan. You are well
Cornet, Ernest here.
Ernest.
The pressure that you withstood today, really well done, man. You are mine. I don't care what happens in the pro. You one of my nominations for driver of the day today.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Like it, guys.
So Jason Webb takes the first position with 11 points. He manages to grab 11 points. Corne Strauss in the McLaren there in second place, and Rino Adrianza in third. Wow, what a race! If this is what the pro race is gonna be like, then I'm excited. That was a fantastic bit of racing. But before we get to that, we've got to interview the man of the moment. Jason Webb's gonna be joining us in a couple of moments. And Jason was one of those guys that just led from start to finish. Jason, are you with us?
I am with you. Well,
Hey!
I'm looking at the Swiss Alps, but I mean, I'm here.
Jason Webb, well done, my friend. How did it feel to start in the front, finish in the front? I mean, I could see you were in your element, in a rhythm, start to finish, no mistakes.
Yeah, obviously it's not the position I want to be in, leading in Pro-Am. Obviously I wanted to drive in Pro, but I wasn't able to do the seeding yesterday. So once I got the comfortable lead against Strauss, I just sort of matched his pace, so I knew I could just maintain that gap. And also the VR and the whole using the Fanatec wheel here at 80k is absolutely amazing, man. It took some getting used to, but I mean, geez, like that's why I say right now I'm in the Swiss Alps with the VR step.
Jason, I was actually I was surfing this morning in St. Francis with Ryan Payne.
Oh,
So,
lovely.
I think Payne's going to get a phone call and say, "Listen, we need Fanatec, we need VR, we need listen, well done. That was well done. I mean,
thank you.
Under pressure as commentators, we said you've got to win this. I mean, qualifying, you're a second off the pace, a second quicker than anyone else. So it was yours to really mess up and lose, and you didn't. And that's exactly what we thought. You put a lap delta on your dash, and that is what you're clocking, and that's why you just you could cruise through that. But good to get that result. I know it's not what you wanted, but confidence going to Spa in 2 weeks because they're actually quite similar circuits.
Yeah, no, 100%. Spa is actually my least favorite circuit, so I need to actually spend more time there. Hopefully I can get a wheel as well, or I can just steal this lovely DD from Warren. But yeah, otherwise I had a really good race. I really enjoyed it.
Now I'm glad, Jason. I always say, like, you've had some issues over the last couple of races, and this is a nice thing to take forward, get this win under the belt. I mean, it feels good to be on the top spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. Definitely feels good, and definitely puts a confidence boost on, the next race or the next championship you go into.
Yeah, I'm super happy for you, man. Super stoked and well deserved. And let's get that wheel sorted out, and then we'll hopefully see you back on the grid, man.
100%. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Sure, what a race. And that was really exciting stuff right from the front. And I mean, as you said, it was Jason's to lose. So there was that pressure. And of course, Corne Strauss and Rina Adriaanse battling it out just behind him. What a fantastic Pro-Am race. I'm still kind of blown away at the moment. We'll be back after the next couple of breaks, the next break. And we'll see you guys for the Pro Division here at Suzuka.